I like vegan lobster directly from Maine. I never see bullfights when I'm over in Spain. Animals should be living just like you and me. Nothing but the food that's plant-based and meat-free. Oh, we rolling?
Yes, we are rolling.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Vegan Quest, a show dedicated to teaching people how to practice a proper and nutritious vegan diet. And today, on today's show, we have a very special guest. She has a company called Mobtown Sweets and Treats, which is a vegan bakery and catering company. So without further ado, all the way from Baltimore, Maryland, Colorado, we'd like to introduce Kat Kannons.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Kat. How's it going?
It's great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Welcome all the way from Baltimore. Now,
Yes.
I said Colorado, but Kat actually did, you attended culinary school.
I did. I went to the School of Natural Cookery
And
in Colorado.
and how was that?
It was awesome. I learned how to make all sorts of really cool vegan food. It's nutritious and easy to prepare. And today we're actually going to be preparing a vegan baked brie, and we're going to do it on croute and puff pastry.
Oh,
So-
I love some puff pastry.
Don't we all?
Yes. And part of the reasoning behind this show is that we really want to make vegan cooking appetizing for the average person. So the fact that you went to a culinary school just shows you that there's so many options with vegan cooking, and that's what we want to bring to the people out there all over the world.
Cool. Well, it's great to be here.
All right. Well, so what are we going to make?
Okay, so as I said, we're going to make a baked brie en croute. So we're going to start off by making our vegan cheese, our brie. We're going to do a wheel. We're going to we've already prepared our ingredients here in front of us. The first thing that we're going to add to our blender is 1 1/3 cups of soy milk. So the soy milk that I use to make this, it is plain soy milk, and I try to get a soy milk that doesn't have a lot of additives like sweetener and also thickeners and stabilizers,
Sure.
because that can affect the consistency of the cheese once it comes out. So today I use Trader Joe's soy beverage unsweetened. If we look here at the ingredients, it only has water and whole organic soybeans. So I know
There's a lot of controversy with soy milk and things like that. Is soy milk the only type of milk that you would use?
you can also use homemade almond milk if you'd like. I have not tried this recipe with cashew milk or rice milk, but if anybody out there wants to give it a shot and let me know, I'd be interested to hear your feedback.
All right.
Okay. So I know that also if you don't have a Trader Joe's in your area, you can also use Eden soy brand soy milk as well. So we're going to do that. We're also going to take, we've got a 1/4 cup of tapioca starch here. Tapioca starch, I guess it's also sometimes called tapioca flour. You can get it most natural food stores. You can find it. I get it from the Asian Mark. Do you want to mark it? Do you want to just grab that bag back there so they can see what we're using?
I'm familiar with tapioca pudding.
Okay.
But is that similar to this?
I think they use tapioca pearls in tapioca
okay.
pudding, they're like the little balls, right?
But it's still vegan, right?
Yes. Well, it depends
Depends on how you make it.
It depends on whether you use like coconut milk or cow's milk or whatever. Maybe we
Sure.
can do tapioca pudding next time.
Yes.
All right.
I'm always up for a good dessert.
Me too. So we're also going to add, we've got nutritional yeast. This is 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. And just dump that in there. That's going to, first of all, it's going to give us some vitamin B12, which is good because that's the one thing that vegans don't get unless they, from a vegan diet, unless they're eating fortified foods or taking a supplement. So
I know a lot of people talk about, is this the same as amino acids? This is something that we should probably discuss because on the last episode we talked about amino acids, and
Okay.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're really going to put me on the spot next time. You should give me a
we don't have
heads
to talk about that.
So amino acids, it's the building blocks of protein.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
So I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of white miso paste. The miso paste, it's just going to give it a little bit of a depth of flavor, similar to an aged brie cheese. So we just, at first it doesn't want to go in. We're going to drop that in there.
I'm on a vegan quest, so I'm practicing becoming a vegan, but I spent years as a vegetarian. And the only thing I know about brie is that we took a lot of trips to Atlantic City, and when you have a losing trip, they offer you a grilled cheese sandwich made of brie. And that's really the only thing I know.
I never got one of those. But I've had some losing trips in Atlantic City as well. So now I feel cheated. Like, not only did I lose the money, but I didn't get my grilled cheese sandwich.
But now you have vegan brie, which is...
So this is actually, this is much better because no cows were actually harmed in the making of this cheese. And it's going to be super tasty. And you can also actually make grilled cheese sandwiches. Okay, so we're also going to add kappa carrageenan. This is just going to act to bind our cheese. So we're going to dump that in there. That may be a slightly more difficult ingredient to find at your local store, but I order mine online from Amazon.com, and it's kappa carrageenan. It comes from a company called Modernist Pantry. You just want to make sure that you actually get the kappa carrageenan, as opposed to, they have a couple other ones out there, because your results with your cheese I can't guarantee them if you use something else.
Would you say that's a secret ingredient to a lot of vegan baking? Because I know a lot of...
Carrageenan?
A lot of things like...
So I don't use it always in baking, but I definitely use it in the vegan cheese making. It's also used in ice cream making because it keeps your product from separating, and it gives it like a nice consistency.
Sounds good.
And we are also going to add 1 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt to our mixture here. So just dump that in there. From here, I'm going to blend with my blender, and I'm just using just an average blender here. You don't need a $500 blender to make this cheese. So we're just, basically what we want to do is we want to make sure that the tapioca starch gets mixed in with all the other ingredients. So it's going to give it a nice smooth consistency. Here we go.
That's good.
So just let it run. You don't need to let it blend for too long. Maybe just like 10 or 15 seconds. And from here, we're going to put it into our saucepan. And we're going to dump it in here. So you can see all the miso and the tapioca starch and the nutritional yeast all got mixed together.
Is that the same as miso soup?
Yes, yes. There's different types of miso though. So we used a white miso, which has a sweeter flavor and it's not aged as long. So I know that they also have darker misos and a red miso. And now we're gonna come over here, and you want to put it over a low to medium heat and begin to stir it with your whisk. And once you get it, as soon as you add it to the fire, you are going to add your coconut oil. So I have 1/3 cup of coconut oil here. You want to make sure that you are using, I'm going to turn this down. You want to make sure that you're using refined coconut oil as opposed to unrefined. The reason being, your unrefined coconut oil is going to impart a coconutty flavor into your cheese. And when you use the refined coconut oil, you can see it doesn't really have any coconut flavor at all.
No smell. There's no smell.
There was no smell.
It's odorless. Do you know how I can tell that you went to culinary school?
How?
It's because you know how to operate this oven, and last time I didn't.
Well, first of all, this is a range top.
Oh, it's a range top. Oh, well.
Your oven is back here.
Oh, that's the oven. Never mind. Well, see? Now you can tell that I have no experience. I have to go to Colorado.
Yes. Starting to thicken. We're still going to give it another minute or two. You'll notice that when it gets ready, it gets really thick, and the cheese begins to pull away from the pan. You want to give it a stir?
Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right.
So is it important to constantly whisk it as you're cooking?
I would say it's fairly important to just keep the motion going, because once it starts to thicken up, it thickens really quickly, and it will clump if you don't.
And then your spatula gets stuck in. This is not a spatula.
It's a whisk.
This whisk gets stuck in there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't think. I mean, it's still like a fairly soft cheese.
And this is why the cows are happy.
This
is
why.
a happy cow.
Yeah.
There is no cow involved in this cheese.
Yeah. Okay, so if you look, our cheese has really thickened up now, and it is ready for us. We're going to whisk in 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. Whisk that in and remove it from the heat.
Apple cider vinegar's got a lot of health benefits, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I knew that. That's something I knew.
All right, so you can see it's nice and thick.
Can I lick the batter?
I've got a mold here. It's just a round Pyrex dish. You could also use a stainless steel, but you just want to put your cheese in some sort of round form so that it can solidify in your refrigerator. So this is going to go into the fridge, and you're gonna want to leave it for 2 to 3 hours, just so it'll get nice and firm. And when it comes out, it's going to look like this. And here we go.
That looks amazing.
Thanks. All right, so we have our brie here. We also have 2 sheets of puff pastry. You want to make sure the puff pastry that you're using is vegan. I use the Pepperidge Farm brand. I know there's some other puff pastry brands out there, or you can also always make your own. That's always an option.
That's another whole episode.
Yeah. So we have our round of cheese, and I'm just going to take it. I had left it on parchment paper so that it would be easy to remove. Take it and place it on one of our squares of puff pastry. And then from there, I have acquired some fig butter. You can add fig butter, or if you want to add preserves, like, today I brought some herbs from my garden.
You got that from Colorado, didn't you?
No, I got them from my garden. But I have some
in Colorado.
I have some rosemary and thyme here and I also have some chopped pecans, some cranberries. So
is that called a preserve?
This is a fig butter, but I'm saying you could also add like jam, jam or preserves. Whatever. I'm trying to go sort of with a holiday theme here.
I like it. Can I taste it?
Absolutely.
You know, if I had this, I would just eat the whole can. That's what would happen.
So this actually, it reminds me of the filling from Fig Newtons. Like, did you ever eat Fig Newtons when you were? Yeah. It's the ground up figs.
I know I was having childhood memories there.
Yeah.
For a second.
So we're gonna add just maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons. I think we should do 2 tablespoons.
The more the merrier.
You liked it. And we're just gonna sort of smear that around.
Now, the fact that this is vegan means that you really could eat that just as it is without getting sick, because there's no...
Absolutely. And right now, tonight we're making the baked brie, but you could eat it just like this. Slice it. This brie will melt. So, like we were saying, like you were talking about the grilled cheeses.
Right.
And traditionally Brie has a rind on it that it's got that like whitish rind that's made from mold. So
mold.
Mold. That's what it traditionally is made from. But you could just take a little tapioca starch like we use.
Is the mold vegan?
And put that around the edges of the cheese and on the top, and stick it in the fridge. Let it sit for like 2 days, and it will dry out the top and replicate that.
Mold.
We're going to add some rosemary here on the top. Is that going to be?
I smell that rosemary.
Is that going to be on your next album?
Yes.
Your song about mold. And then we also have some thyme.
That's a fresh thyme. That's fresh thyme, actually.
Fresh thyme. So we're just going to...
I use the pre-packaged thyme, but I recommend...
Sprinkle that. We're going to add our cranberries. This is about a 1/4 cup of cranberries. And I use about a tablespoon each of the rosemary and the thyme.
Rosemary. You know that song?
I don't.
Heaven restores you in life.
And we're also going to add about a 1/4 cup of chopped pecans on top, which is just going to give it a nice little crunch and some flavor.
That looks good as it is, but every time you add a new ingredient, it exceeds my expectations of what.
Oh, wow. Wait till you taste it. Now you're really in for a
wait.
treat. And then we're going to take our other piece of puff pastry, place it over the top, and then gently press down along the sides.
Looks like a big ravioli.
Yes. Okay, so our next step, now that we've got our puff pastry laid out over our cheese, we're going to take a little bit more of the soy milk. I have about a 1/4 cup here, and we're just going to drizzle it around the edges of the bottom pastry sheet, and then lay it down and press it in.
Does that act like a paste?
So what it's going to do is it's just going to seal it together so that your cheese, when it begins to melt, it doesn't ooze out the sides. This works as well. So now we're just going to take that, press it in around the edges, and then take your paring knife, and we're going to cut in a circle, leaving about a 1/4 inch around the base. And you can see it's starting to stick together. I'm going to use a fork and crimp the edges. So I have a fork here, and we're just going to press in to really seal all the way around.
That reminds me of a pot pie.
Yeah, very similar.
From Colorado.
So yeah, you would do the same thing when you're doing a pie crust to crimp like the top and bottom edges of the pie crust.
Right.
And we're also going to want to take a little bit more soy milk and just drizzle it over the top, and that's going to make our brie en croûte bake up nice and golden brown.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
What does en croûte mean?
En croûte, it just means in pastry. So
Oh, is it French?
Yes, it
It's
is.
French. Avez-vous un crayon?
Did you just ask me if I had a pencil?
Yes.
Crayon?
S'il vous plaît.
So, and then we have our cookie sheet here. So we're just gonna, this is just gonna go up and on to our baking sheet. We're gonna bake it in our preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. Till it's nice and golden brown.
Right there in the middle?
Yes, right on the middle rack. Okay, so we let our brie bake for 30 minutes at 400 degrees. So it became nice and toasty, that nice golden brown color. And then we just plated it here. I included some local Honeycrisp apples along with some more fresh rosemary on top.
The apples probably go good with the cranberries, eh?
Yes. So yeah, are we ready to dig in?
Let's do it. I'm hungry.
Okay. So, oops. We're losing apples here.
It's better than losing your marbles.
Yes, it is. So go ahead and let me know what you think. Be careful, it's hot. What do you think?
You are an artiste.
Thank you.
Can I have some more, s'il vous plaît?
Oui.
All right, guys, there you
Inside.
go. Some baked brie on Croute.
On Croute. On Croute.
So, Kat Kannons, thank you so much. And where could people check out your work online?
They can check me out at Mobtown Sweets and Treats.com. And I'm also on Facebook as well.
All right, guys, Mobtown
Sweets and Treats.
Kat, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
You're welcome.